Welcome back to the 2014 Bridgewater's Finest Movie Awards, brought to you in conjunction with the Resident Movie Lover blog at residentmovielover.blogspot.ca, as well as the Library Chess Productions, as well as MediaDetour.com. And now it's time for the main event, folks. This is what we've been waiting for. This is the top 25 best movies of 2014. It's going to be done the exact same way as the top 10 worst. We're going to tell you what the movie is, tell you a little bit about why we liked it, give you what we rated it, and then move on. Before we do that, we have got a metric ton of honorable mentions, things that did not make the top 25 list for either of us.
Here we go. One called, I think it's called Papa, but it might be Pupa. Anyway, just a short film.
Okay.
I've kind of kept, I have one, I think, short film in my, top 25. There was a few that probably could have made it, but I was keeping it. One special one, but Pupa is another short film, and it's great. Nice. Trailer Park Boys, Don't Legalize It, Gone Girl, The Babadook, Under the Skin, Startup, Filth, which was a cheater pick, apparently.
Filth was a cheater? Okay.
And Foxcatcher and Nightcrawler. But Nightcrawler almost made it in.
Oh, yeah.
It was, last minute. I don't know. It was, right there.
My honorable mentions, I'm going to start with, actually, a bunch of ones that I rated 75. The Giver, Draft Day, The One I Love, 22 Jump Street, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Swearnet the Movie, which I really liked, Into the Woods, Still Alice, Blind, which I mentioned earlier, Fury, as well as The Grand Seduction. And then I had a couple that I ranked 80, which is where my top 25 starts, but they just kind of fell off the tail end of the list. Those being Gone Girl, Muppets Most Wanted, Trailer Park Boys 3, Don't Legalize It, like you mentioned, as well as the one that fell off the list last, that being Boyhood. All right, folks, without further ado, let's get right into it now. Our top 25 best movies of 2014. Tyler is going to kick us off. And remember, in this video, we're doing number 25 all the way up to number 11. So, Tyler, hit us with number 25.
My number 25 is a movie called Killers.
Okay.
It's essentially about a psychopath who's killing peeps, and then there's a journalist who just kind of gets entangled in it, and also starts killing people. Somehow they talk.
Okay.
And the killer is basically just basically saying you're not too different than me, and then the guy kind of starts to be kind of like him.
Okay.
A lot of these directors that I've seen in Japanese movies, they do psychological shit really well, and they do violence really well. And there's something about Killers. It's just they do really good violence. And it's not like it's killing all the time.
No.
But the violence has impact, and
right.
The psychological disturbing elements of it are done exceptionally well.
What did you rate that?
I think an 80.
Think an 80?
Yeah.
Okay. So my number 25 best movie of 2014 is Foxcatcher. Foxcatcher starring Steve Carell as well as Mumbles Tatum. And sorry, Channing. Obviously, it's this story of the great American wrestler. It's Mark. Shoot, what was his name? Schultz. Mark and Dave Schultz.
Yes.
And kind of the psychological sort of torment that he goes through after his Olympic win, and kind of in the post-mortem of being an Olympic champion but not necessarily being the Olympic champion, because the Olympic champion sort of ended up being his brother because they both won gold. It's a movie that lives and dies on performance. And Channing Tatum is great in the movie. Mark Ruffalo is great in the movie. Steve Carell is great in the movie. It's an interesting examination of the psychological toll that competition at that level can take, and sort of with someone especially not getting the recognition that they justly deserve for being an Olympic and a 2-time World Wrestling Champion. At a rating of 80 out of 100, Foxcatcher is my number 25 best movie of 2014.
I liked that the relationship between the two brothers was kind of real feeling.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like, brother, I'm going to leave you to go train with this guy. Oh, you asshole. And then they feud.
Exactly.
Like, you see that so much. Good pick.
Nice.
An honorable mention. Number 24. Into the Woods.
Nice. To grandmother's house.
We were the only two guys in there that didn't have... And I'm assuming this is what you kind of mentioned in an earlier video.
Yeah.
We were the only two guys that didn't have a date.
Our date was each other.
Yeah. I can't believe how much I love this movie.
Yeah.
Like...
It ended up being really good.
I was just like, this is awesome. Like, Anne Kendricks did a great job. The dude who played Emily Blunt's husband did a good job.
Yeah, the baker.
Emily Blunt's still my girl.
Chris Pine as the prince.
Yeah.
Agony!
It's fucking great.
It was.
I don't like musicals.
Such an enjoyable movie.
Like, I'm not a musical guy.
Mm.
So, the fact that I love this enough to put it on my top 25 and could even be higher, because the more we talk about it, the more it's just like, I fucking love this movie.
It's worth noting that some people thought this was the worst movie of the year.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to be like.
Yeah.
The songs were funny.
They were.
The acting was great. I mean, the songs were good themselves. The fact that they took these fairy tale characters, made it a little dark, but not too dark, but made it a little dark, but put all these different characters together.
Yeah, and then how it became a fairy tale in and of itself.
They had fun with it.
Yeah. My number 24 best movie of 2014 is Inherent Vice.
Yeah.
Now, this obviously shows up earlier on the list than it probably will on Tyler's. Like, if there's such a case to be made that, like, something unfocused can be beautiful, this would be the perfect case study for something like that, because this feels like it should have been a TV miniseries rather than being a movie. Because there's so many new characters that get introduced and so many new plot points in a movie where the plot ultimately doesn't matter. What happens in the movie is so much less important than the way that especially Doc is performed and the way the movie feels and the music. It's what actually happens is secondary, and I really, really enjoy movies like that. So, at a rating of 80 out of 100, Inherent Vice is my number 24 best movie of 2014.
What you said about the story not mattering, it is...
Or just being secondary.
It is classic. It's a Shaggy Dog story. It doesn't matter. If you sit and try to figure out Inherent Vice, like what's going on, you're going to get frustrated.
Yeah.
Because it's overly confusing by design. It was meant... It's not poor writing. I mean, fucking Pynchon. I mean, I know they adapted it, but
but still,
it's meant to be that way. All right, my number 23 is The Raid 2. If you want some crazy like martial arts action, probably your best bet these days, I guess, is probably The Raid. You go there because you want to see the fights.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the fights are phenomenal. That's pretty much, like, I love the movie, but I can't think of anything better to say than, like you want crazy martial arts, because it's mostly martial arts. I think there's some shooting and whatnot, but it's mostly about the hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah,
and it's so well, exactly. It's so well choreographed that it's like, this is outstanding stuff.
Yeah. So that's still an 80, or is that up to an 85?
From Into the Woods, I'm at 85 for
okay,
a while.
Right.
But you got to remind me to say.
No worries. No worries. My number 23 best movie of 2014 is Snowpiercer, and we talked about foreign language films and things like that, or just kind of foreign produced films, or that may have foreign language aspects in them and things like that. Snowpiercer is an excellent example. And this is a shout out to my friend Sarah, who basically would not let me sleep until I fucking watched Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer is one of those movies where, like, the story is relatively not even simplistic. Like, it's set in a world where, the shit has been fucked up, clearly, and it's like constant nuclear winter and
on a train.
The survival, the entirety of the surviving humans basically are on this train, which is just constantly doing a loop that lasts exactly 1 year, and they're like kind of in the same place at the same time every year. And a very rigid and structured class system on this train of basically all the poor people in the back and all the rich people who get to be educated and things up in the front. Just a really fun visual movie, and a movie that's really got its own special kind of feel to it. And it was definitely, it lived up to the hype that several people hyped it up to me as being a great movie, and it definitely was. So at a ranking of 80 out of 100, Snowpiercer is my number 23 best movie of 2014.
It's actually a very, very, almost deceptively intelligent film. Because you kind of look at it on the surface, and you think, okay, it's rich versus poor, which is always a relevant discussion.
Absolutely.
Always. This I didn't notice. The back of the train, there's no windows. The front of the train, there's no windows. The middle of the train, there's windows. Because the middle class is the only class that can do anything about it. They can see the outside world. Because when you think about it, the poor in real life are too busy surviving to do anything. I mean, yeah, you get the occasional poor person who tries to rise up, but what are you going to do when you can't eat? And then the rich, it's like, they're partying, like, I mean, yeah.
Why would I need to see the outside?
Yeah, exactly.
Look at all the shit I got here.
Yeah. And then, I mean, and don't get me wrong, there's rich people who do charitable things, yada, 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 yada. But the middle class, they see both, and they are the ones with the power. And that's an interesting direction that movie went in. Even if you didn't like the movie, it's like we should be praising it for like an interesting idea.
Yeah.
When do you see a movie about a train that's going around the world, and that's how they're
the tank in the movie.
Yeah, that's how they're registering time and whatnot. And even that itself is like a metaphor. It's just very metaphorical and like symbolic movie. My number 22 is Inherent Vice.
Nice.
Admittedly, not as high as I expected. Maybe it to be.
Not as high as I expected it to be on your list. I'll put that right out there.
I do feel like it was like long, like too long for what it was meant to be, like for what it was as a book. It wasn't really long, but it was still great. Like everything you said about it is true. What was kind of interesting about both the book and the movie is like with Pynchon, you have this writer who's known for his dense, like ridiculously complicated books, like Gravity's Rainbow and shit. Right? But then he writes like a pulp, like 70s mystery detective whodunit, right? And I love that, and that's what kind of drew me to the book. Anderson's kind of the same. I mean, he's done movies like Boogie Nights and stuff, which aren't like real complex works.
Yeah.
But over the years, There Will Be Blood, and I think he did The Master. And even though we did turn Inherent Vice a little bit into that, it was still interesting to see Anderson go off and choose that.
Yeah, for
of all things, like it's the same arc as Pynchon. It's like we're known for this, but we're gonna do
this instead. Fair enough.
I think Inherent Vice could have been better if it would have been more pulpy. Like if he would
have
purposely filmed it as like as pulpy as the book. I think it could have been a little crazier, is what I'm saying. But it was still an awesome movie. I just
could have been even more ridiculous.
I envisioned it even from the trailers, but just from reading the book, I envisioned it a little differently than what I got. Which is also part of the reason why they rated it as highly. Because this could have been a 90. Inherent Vice, 22.
My number 22 best movie of 2014. Babadook. The Babadook. Legitimately the scariest movie that I've seen all year. Not the greatest year for horror movies, but there were a couple that I wanted to see that I didn't get around to, but they didn't get the greatest reviews. Like As Above, So Below, I wanted to see.
I saw that.
Didn't really get the greatest reviews.
It's okay.
That I could see. It was alright?
Yeah, it was alright.
The best horror movies, for me anyways, are the ones that don't depend on jump scares. And this is a horror movie, like basically a domestic horror movie that doesn't really depend on its jump scares. Like it's got legitimately creepy and scary moments before you're even introduced to the Babadook creature, because it's basically the story of like your worst case scenario for like a single mother trapped in like basically postpartum, like late postpartum depression, about like, you know, being alone, being either widowed or separated or whatever, with a child that has, you know, the problems that the child in this movie has, which we kind of had a conversation about whether the kid in the movie is autistic or not.
Well, you brought it up.
Yeah,
and I didn't remember like his actions enough to have the discussion, and I still can't because I didn't like look it up, but I did remember Googling it because you were like, is he autistic? And I was like, well, I don't remember. And then I kind of looked, and there was actually discussion of that.
Was there?
Yeah, of whether he was autistic or
so,
not.
So, like, he's probably... I suppose if an actual therapist were to look at it, he probably would put him somewhere on the spectrum. So the story is basically there's this creature, this Babadook creature, that is in this children's book, that the creature comes alive when you acknowledge him, basically. Like, you read this book or you think about the existence of the Babadook creature, and then it haunts you, basically, and you can't get rid of it. There's a lot of metaphorical talk in there for, like, motherhood and parenthood, and, like, once this creature, quote-unquote, which can be interpreted in certain ways as your child, is there, you can't escape it. And that's one interpretation, anyways, of kind of the symbolism, the deeper meaning behind the Babadook. As a strict horror movie, it's just freakish in some places. Like, it's a truly scary and sometimes haunting horror movie. In my opinion, the best horror movie of 2014. With a rating of 80 out of 100, The Babadook is my number 22 best movie of 2014.
It creeped me out, for sure. And there was definitely some scenes, like we talked about, like when he comes through the room.
Yeah.
And he's like, wow, I'm like, oh shit.
And the stop motion effect, which it makes it twice as scary to me.
Yeah. I didn't love The Babadook as much as you. But then you talk about it. And while I didn't find it as scary as you did, I'm finding it more interesting in terms of its meaning than I originally did.
Yeah,
I viewed it more on the surface than you did. And listening to you talk made me appreciate it more.
Nice.
Yo, my 21 coming in with an 85 is Obvious Child.
Nice. The Obvious Child was a movie that I watched. Didn't even make an honorable mention for me. I think I rated it like a 70 because it took me a while to get into it. Yeah. Once I got into it, it was quite a good movie, but it did take me a while to get there.
We kind of already talked about it in the previous video, but like Jenny Slate was fantastic and really kind of took the movie on her back and ran with it. Trying to think of things I maybe didn't say in the other video, but it was just like, it was a charming, cute, intelligent movie, and the one thing was like, you see stand-up, like, not a lot, but you see stand-up in movies, and it's never funny, but I actually found this funny, not in like a Louis C.K. or Bill Burr, fucking George Carlin type of like,
yeah, exactly,
but like, I found it like, you know what, I would watch this girl, like, a special. Like, is it a movie that I'm gonna be like sing the praises of for the rest of my life? Be like, oh fuck, you should see this movie. No, because I only rated an 85.
Right.
But if someone's like, man, it's Obvious Child good, I'm like, yeah, it's really good. Really good.
It's really good.
I liked it.
So that was your number 21.
Yeah.
Nice. My number 21 best movie of 2014 is a movie we talked about a little bit earlier called Under the Skin. Now, this is one of Tyler's honorable mentions as well. Under the Skin, starring Scarlett Johansson as basically an alien body snatcher who has come to Earth to try and learn about humanity, I guess, and learn about love and relationships and just basically kind of what it is to be human. And this alien abducts Scarlett Johansson's body and kind of just assumes her form, kills her character and assumes her form, and through that there's like seducing men into this like black pit, basically. A very stylish visual movie. Like, it feels like a movie that's like was shot kind of in the 70s, late 70s to early 80s. Music is very important in these scenes that are just surrounded by black. Like, there's just nothing but blackness, and the score and the two characters on screen, like Scarlett Johansson backing up like in her underwear, which A1, and this guy walking forward with his totally naked, but getting absorbed into this black pit, and it's like, you know, it just visually was a great movie, and I thought it had a great ending. And Scarlett Johansson, of course, was great in it. Just not in much of a speaking role, but like she actually got to exercise some acting chops, non-verbal. So with a rating of 80 out of 100, Under the Skin is my number 21 best movie of 2014.
Yeah, I didn't love it as much as I had hoped, but I still rated an 80, and as he said in a previous video, our 80s are different. Like, my 80's still great. It's a great film.
Yeah, exactly.
But it left me a little colder than I would have liked. Because it was kind of a type of movie that it was weirder, so I gravitated towards weird. But I wasn't as into it as I would have liked. But it was definitely pretty masterful filmmaking.
I think I'm just such a sucker for sci-fi, basically in any of its forms.
And sex.
And sex. And Scarlett Johansson in her.
Yeah. My number 20 is rated an 85, and it's called The Rover.
The Rover was on my list to see. I didn't get to see it.
It took me a little bit longer to see the movie than it probably would have had I known who directed it. And if I would have known it was him behind The Rover, I probably would have watched it right away.
Right.
Because he's like a new director. He hasn't. I don't know if he's done more than that. Well, he probably has, but it's more like a snapshot in time. Because essentially, it's like the conflict is over the guy's dog.
Okay.
And he goes on the hunt for these people. And it doesn't tell you why the apocalypse happened. It doesn't give you anything after. It's just one moment, one story in a post-apocalyptic world of this guy going on the hunt for, like, people either killed his dog or stole his dog. I think maybe killed. Yeah. It's like, for anybody who wants, like, some bigger meaning in their movie, you're not going to get it, because it's literally just this one little journey.
Right.
It's just a story, one single story. But it was just expertly done. The violence was kind of drive-ish to the, like, when it happened, it was violent and had impact.
My number 20 best movie of 2014 was X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, Bryan Singer obviously is obsessed with the idea of making sure that no one remembers that X-Men 3 was a thing.
I like X-Men 3.
And it seems like with these two movies, First Class and now this, like, I'm comfortable with this being the story arc now.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm totally comfortable with the fact that Singer came in and he was like, I'm retconning the so-called damage that has been done by these other movies. Yeah. And this is the one true timeline. And that I'm totally cool with. I really liked all the performances. Obviously, this is another performance from Jennifer Lawrence, who we didn't mention earlier. She's obviously very good as Mystique, and everybody's really on point with their characters. Yeah. And it was great, just on a personal level. It was great to see. It's James McAvoy, isn't it? Yeah. To see James McAvoy being Charles Xavier to Charles Xavier at a rating of 80 out of 100. X-Men Days of Future Past. That is my number 20.
It's ridiculous the quality of these X-Men films.
Yeah.
Like I said, what I said to him was, this one that you just talked about, and X2, are amazing movies. X2 especially is one of the best. It's the third best superhero movie of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the X-Men movies are better than the Avengers. Like,
nice.
I think the X-Men are better than the Avengers, period. I'm going out and saying that I find them more interesting.
Nice.
But in terms of just the movies, like, X2 is beyond the first Avengers. My number 19, since we're on the topic of, like, intelligent superhero movies, my number 19 is Swearnet.
Nice.
I love Swearnet. I know I'm higher on Swearnet than you are, but you're higher on the Trailer Park Boys movie. Right. But neither of us dislike the other by not even close. Because I love the Trailer Park Boys movie, but there is something about Swearnet. I don't know. I just kind of like seeing them play themselves. I love the Trailer Park Boys to death, but Swearnet is one of the funniest things those guys have ever done.
Yeah.
A
lot of Pat Roach penis.
Yeah.
A lot of Pat Roach penis in that movie. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed Swearnet, and it's such a great premise.
Yeah.
For a movie. Like, it's three dudes who quote unquote used to have fame, can't do what they were doing anymore within the studio structure, and decide to start their own. Yeah, we can't fucking talk about Trailer Park Boys anymore. We just can't. But then, rather than like, oh god, I guess we got to find something else to do. No, they just start their own studio.
Yeah.
My number 19 best movie of 2014 depresses me again that the movie is this low. The Hobbit: The Battle of the Five Armies. So it's still. It was a movie that I expected much more from, but it still made my top 20 just because, and I've said this to you before, any journey to Peter Jackson's Middle-earth is a journey worth taking. Like, for me anyways. Like, being such a fan of the original trilogy. I hate saying that. All the Star Wars fans are just...
There's only one fucking trilogy, exactly. Star Wars.
Right? And there's only one return, okay? And it ain't of the King, it's of the Jedi. It's a journey worth taking. Because even if for no other reason than if you've watched all the other Peter Jackson movies, it's like, god damn it, it's been 15 years and 6 movies, I'm finishing what I started. And yeah, the fact that it's been that long is crazy.
I never really thought about it.
But like, it's been that long, it's been 6 movies, goddamn, gonna finish what I started. And it is worth seeing. But for as much as I love Middle-earth, and I love some of these characters, and the scenarios, and the world that is being built in, why was this 3 movies? But with a rating of 80 out of 100, The Hobbit: The Battle of the Five Armies is my number 19, best movie of 2014.
My number 18 with a rating of 85 is The Purge, Anarchy.
Wow.
You won't see that anywhere else,
nope.
I don't think.
I don't think you will.
And here's why I love The Purge, Anarchy. Like I've said earlier, I'm hard on horror movies. Mm-hmm. But the first Purge had a premise that, yes, it's a little silly when you really think about it, but, it's so different. Because that would be the scariest shit in the world. Yeah. One day a year. I mean, it might only be, 12 hours, or is it a full day?
No, it's I think it's only 12. I think it's 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 to 6.
For 12 hours, you can kill and use weapons within reason up to a certain code.
Yeah.
That's scary as shit. And when I first saw a trailer for the first one, I was like, that's a really interesting premise, even if it's a little silly. I like that. I'm going to go see it. So I saw the first one, and I thought, still love the premise. I see the social commentary. I wasn't in love with it as much as I had hoped. Mm-hmm. So when the sequel came out, I'm like, you know what? I'm down for a new Purge. And then you're like, well, this one's going to take place outside the house. I thought, oh shit, let's see this. So I go to see it. It's not a scary movie at all.
No.
There might be a jump scare or two here and there. But
for all intents and purposes, it's an action movie.
Yeah, and that's exactly, it's an action movie. And I feel bad for anybody who doesn't see that
Mm-hmm.
and thinks this wasn't scary. And and the social commentary is very heavy, very, very heavy. But people criticize movies for that. I have no problem with heavy social commentary.
Yeah, no.
Not every movie needs it or should have it.
No.
But like the first time there's like really heavy social commentary, it's like that was way too heavy-handed. It's like maybe they just felt they had something to say, whether you agree or not. Maybe there's more than one way to make your point. It's a great action movie with a lot of silliness, and maybe that's not what they were going for. And if that's not what they were going for, they have failed miserably, and it's a terrible movie.
Right.
But until I see that that's not what they were going for, I'm assuming that's what they were going for. So they succeeded admirably.
Nice. It was a little heavy-handed, but that's fine. Like it's like being heavy-handed is not the death knell. No. Right? Like it's not like, oh, you're heavy-handed, your movie's awful. It's not the case.
But I mean, like when you see a dude like open up the back of a truck, and the truck opens, and he's got this massive fucking gun
turret,
and it's just like I'm having so much fun with this movie. I really hope this is what they were going for.
Yeah. If it's not, then
it's like my 18 or whatever.
Yeah, I believe that was your number 18.
Yeah, right. What's yours?
My number 18 best movie of 2014 is Interstellar. All right. Matthew McConaughey in space. This, had a great supporting cast, obviously, with Anne Hathaway and Michael Caine and Jessica Chastain, and an awesome out-of-nowhere cameo from Matt Damon. Which
it was so weird, but kind of...
It was, but it was just like, oh my god, Matt Damon's in this movie? I had no idea. Like that, the first time I saw that, I was like, oh snap.
I found the fight really silly though, but...
Yeah, the fight was goofy. It was a movie that I initially thought didn't really warrant multiple viewings, and like I didn't necessarily think it was on much of a deeper level than maybe it could have / should have been. I ended up watching it a second time, and I was like, well, you know what, maybe actually, even just on the level of spectacle, maybe it does deserve to be watched more than once. McConaughey is great. It tells a really interesting story. It's a fun kind of idea for like a cautionary tale that like we weren't meant to save the world, we were meant to leave it, and everything like that. And the concept, it gets very dense. The movie gets very dense in physics, like theoretical physics and time travel theory and things like that. So it does get kind of dense in there. If you can commit yourself to following along with it, I think it's totally worth it. And it was an interesting... A nice, interesting little movie this year from Mr. Chris Nolan. So, with a rating of 80 out of 100, Interstellar is my number 18 best movie of 2014.
I don't know what the general reception of the film is, because at times it seemed very negative, but now it seems a little positive.
At first, it was very negative, because people were just like, I don't know, people at first really didn't seem to, knee-jerking, didn't really seem to dig on it.
It left me kind of cold. I didn't hate the movie at all. Like, I didn't hate it, but it left me a little cold. I kind of felt the way I thought I would going in. Because, like, I see the trailers and I'd be like, I wish I could be more excited for a Christopher Nolan movie. Because he's really one of the most consistent directors working. I had a hard time getting into it, but I find it interesting, the discussion of the science behind it. Mm-hmm. Because depending on where you go, it's either ridiculously inaccurate, or it's ridiculously accurate. Like, everyone is like, well, I don't know about now, but everyone was arguing.
Yeah.
Like, well, this is like, well, even like, Jacob's friend, he said, who I don't really trust him, but it's like, my friend there was saying how the science is all fucked up. I'm like, yeah, but I just read an article where like a well-respected scientist was like, this shit is pretty fucking good.
One of the internet's newest darlings in 2014, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is like the pop culture scientist of record now that Bill Nye isn't.
Yeah.
And I think even Bill Nye came out and said the science in Interstellar is 95% of it's pretty good.
I also saw people kind of hating on the twist at the end, where he gets like trapped in the closet, basically. But I liked it. The twist was like the first time during that movie I thought, oh shit.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else in the world now was like, oh shit, there's a whole movie.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I like it because it's a movie. Number 17. It's a one short film that makes the list because I got to show some off, and I think it's also a cheater.
Okay.
It's called Space Cat Hob.
Okay.
And I don't know. Some people think it's silly to like kind of include like a short film that doesn't really even tackle any major like big issues. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of crunched in between like these big movies. You know, like I have constantly sung the praise of short films. Like, not that I've seen a million of them.
No.
But it's like the short story. It's so underappreciated. And I remember whenever we see like a Disney film, they have like a short film, and we come out. And you always agree, like, they need more short films before movies.
Absolutely.
Like, you can get rid of a trailer and give me, or two, and give me, which would be an advertising disaster. But you could give me a short film, and I'd be so happy.
Studios, here's what you need to do. You need to buy up the rights to short films. This is a new model for the industry. Spend $5,000 or whatever, research and buy short films, and play a short film before your film.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be related to the film. Doesn't matter. Irrelevant. That is a business model for you. Get more filmmakers' names out there through short films, because that's where a lot of filmmakers start.
But I did enjoy Space Cat Hob because it was like this kind of movie made over, I think, a few years. No real budget, just love. Right? It was an animated movie, and it's about a cat, space cat, if you will, going to a planet. And even in like the short, like, 4-minute runtime, it tells a pretty compelling story of this kind of cat on this like crazy planet with these gorgeous, lush, otherworldly visuals, but at the same time there's something really grounded about it and relatable.
My number 17 best movie of 2014 is The Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 1.
Oh, shit.
Now, I really don't need to tell you too much about this, because who in the world at this point hasn't seen a Hunger Games movie? The way that I rank this movie in the Hunger Games saga is this. It's better than the first one. It's not as good as Catching Fire. Catching Fire was such a step forward for that series, and in some ways, Mockingjay Part 1 built on what Catching Fire did, and in some ways it kind of not abandoned it, but didn't kind of take it to that next level. You know, performance-wise, I thought maybe it dipped down a little bit, even though Philip Seymour Hoffman, obviously, for the amount that he's actually in it before he unfortunately passed away, was great, and Julianne Moore was great. Another role for Julianne Moore that we kind of forgot. And, like, basically everyone in this movie is good. I just kind of felt like maybe it was a shade on the melodramatic side. Jennifer Lawrence kind of took the tiniest little step back, I think, in her performance. It introduced a lot of good new characters, and it basically did what a Part 1 is supposed to do, which is set up a really solid foundation for Part 2. At a rating of 80 out of 100, The Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 1 is my number 17 best movie of 2014.
Very surprised. Like, from the moment I saw the first one, I was like, that was a lot better than that should have been. Because I never read the books, right? I had I knew Jennifer Lawrence was in it, and I liked her, and that was it. I was like, I don't know what to expect. It's like a young adult, like, teen movie.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be shit. And it wasn't at all.
No, it was good.
I actually like it more because, well, the first and second were very similar, because they kind of did the same thing. They both went to the games, you know.
Right.
This one didn't. This one was like pretty much the beginning of full-blown revolution.
Oh, absolutely.
It was darker. People say nothing happened, but I think the start of a revolution is pretty big. Fucking.
Yeah.
I think nothing happened in the first two.
Yeah, I don't. Yes, I don't buy that for a second. I saw those criticisms. It's like nothing happens in this movie. It's like, what fucking movie were you watching?
I'm gonna give you my number.
Number 16.
I want to give mine to you. Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer?
I've kind of already, with an 8.5, I've kind of already talked about it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's a great science fiction, smart movie.
Yeah. Kono?
I don't think, I pretty much blew my load on that, because I didn't want to forget my points.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, Snowpiercer.
So,
Chris Evans.
Pretty
good
freaking
role.
good.
Good
Yeah,
role.
Chris Evans was good.
Very beat down.
Yeah.
Like a poor person should. Sometimes you see these movies, and they're like supposed to be beat down, but like their like teeth are all perfect. Well, his teeth were probably still perfect. I don't. But you see this beaten down face. Like you're supposed to see this beaten down character, but they don't look beaten down. It's like, but he did look like scruffy and.
Yeah. No, it's true. Apologize for the yawn, folks.
He's bored of me. Anyway,
We've been talking for hours at this point.
So
and we're going to talk for hours more.
What's your number 16? I'm curious to know.
My number 16, best movie of 2014, is Big Hero 6. And this was a movie that, again, I kind of went into not really knowing what I was going to expect. Not really knowing what to expect from the movie. And, a lot more sentimental and emotional content than I thought I was going to get from the movie. Pretty well right from the bloody start.
Yeah.
It's just plus, and this is going to sound so awkward to say, but both of us said it when we were in the movie, the animated mom is hot. But yeah, Big Hero 6, just the animation is fantastic. The voice acting is great. It's got a really interesting story to it. It's a world that should be able to produce more movies, which would be great. I would totally see a Big Hero 6 too. Absolutely. You can't exactly make it part of the MCU because obviously it's animated, but I mean, I would totally see more movies built out of this universe. So at a rating of 80 out of 100, Big Hero 6 is my number 16 best movie of 2014.
Great movie.
Absolutely. It was fantastic.
My number 15.
Yeah.
With a bullet is Jodorowsky's Dune.
Which
we talked about. Just a documentary about a filmmaker I greatly admire and his ideas for the movie, for a Dune movie.
Which we want to see happen, but chances are we probably won't.
It's a great movie. Great,
Good doc. Probably the only doc that makes the list, eh?
Yeah, this year.
I
noticed Criticker, not so much this year, but Criticker often recommends me documentaries. Like last year, it was the top ones that they're like, you'd really like this. It's documentary. I'm like, stop giving me documentaries. I like documentaries, but I don't just want to watch, documentaries. But this year, they didn't. I've seen a few, but they didn't really pimp.
They didn't load you up
me this time. No,
that's a plus. My number 15 best movie of 2014 is The Guest. The Guest, just an awesome fucking character study of this guy who shows up on the doorstep of this typical American family, saying that he was serving overseas with their son, who had just recently passed away at war, and he ends up staying with them. The actor that plays the guest, Dan Stevens, exactly, which you mentioned earlier.
He's known
in an earlier video.
Downtown Abbey.
Downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, Downtown Abbey.
Whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Of all things, right?
Yeah, fair enough. So Dan Stevens, he's phenomenal. He's so good. Because he just owns it. He just I'm just gonna do this.
He's got this kind of creepy but charming smile.
Yeah, exactly.
That he employs during the whole thing. I want to sleep with you, but I feel like there's something dark.
I feel like you might stab me.
Yeah.
Honestly, just a fantastic kind of character study movie, and we have a couple more of those. I have a couple more of those coming up on my list, but at a rating of 80 out of 100, The Guest, my number 15.
I love The Guest. Do you remember seeing the trailer?
Yes.
Didn't look like much.
No, looked
like
it
a
might
wildly, I'd go see this.
Really?
And I watched it, and it's like a few different genres at once. Because, yes, since we're spoiling things, it does become a slasher flick.
Like
it is. It's an 80s slasher
but it's
flick
an
by the end
take,
of it.
Yeah, but it's an interesting take on it.
Exactly.
Right?
Like with the 80s, like music and the visuals and stuff. It's phenomenal. Like, yeah, you got to give yourself to it. Like, you got to.
Absolutely. Oh, God, for sure.
It's not as stylish as Drive, but it's like you said, it's along the same lines. But no, Drive is ridiculously stylish.
Yeah. And again, he just does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, he should get some love for his role, but of course it's like a kind of horror drama action.
Right.
He's not going to get any kind of...
Oh, God, no, but...
Because heaven forbid.
But deserves it.
Number 14. On kind of the tip of, like, being surprised, my number 14 with an 85 is John Wick.
Nice. I might as well say it right now. My number 14 is John Wick.
Really?
Yeah. Nailed it.
So we're co-daddying this one.
Exactly. We're going to co-daddy this son of a bitch. Keanu Reeves, the comeback of the year.
I watched the trailer, and I thought, this should be a decent action movie. Nothing more, nothing less. Like,
exactly.
This could be fun. I like watching Keanu Reeves kick some ass. Like, never thought it would be this good.
No, exactly.
Like,
you gave it an 85, I gave it an 80.
Yeah, like The Equalizer, like the kind of two of the action movies of the year that I was kind of excited for, where it was like The Equalizer, and then like I thought John Wick should be fun. And whereas The Equalizer went down, John Wick went up.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best action movies of the year.
Yeah, the thing that sets him off is the death of the dog that was given to him by his girlfriend/wife who had been killed at some point, and it's just like they killed the dog. And, like, he wasn't gonna, no shit was gonna go down until they killed his fucking dog.
Yeah,
and then John Wick, who is a bad motherfucker, it comes back basically, and that obviously is a running theme in the movies. Like, people keep asking me if I'm back. I think I'm back, and it's like so that's a running theme in the movie, and like if you can handle how much of the time frame in the movie is spent underscoring the fact that John Wick is a bad motherfucker, you will enjoy John Wick being a bad motherfucker because everything they say about him is true.
If you need an action movie,
if you just want to be entertained, you don't need like a deeper, captivating story because that's really not here. There's elements of it. But you don't need a deeper story with something like John Wick. You just want to go to the movies and be entertained. John Wick is as good a choice as anything else.
And this is what I like about us as people and our list, because like you're not seeing John Wick.
No, you're on a couple. So yeah, absolutely, and it should be showing up in more places. I also the last thing I'll say about John Wick is this is another thing like Big Hero 6 where I think it's a universe that can create more.
Yeah.
I think you'll probably see a John Wick 2.
Yeah.
And I'd be totally
a movie that kind of examines the aftermath of the fact that he just straight up murdered everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. John Wick's back.
It's like John Wick tries to escape, like tries to kind of get away from everything that he's kind of caused here, and so I hopefully this develops.
Like it's a sequel that you can easily make because you can just come up with like, oh, John Wick had an enemy from his past that now that John Wick's back, he's decided to come back, and it's like it's the most basic sequel premise, but you know what? It would work as long as the qualities is good. Lucky number 13 with the last 85.
Okay.
Edge of Tomorrow.
My number 13 is also Edge of Tomorrow.
All right. Wow.
Amazing.
I have a love of science fiction movies where there's a sword.
Yes.
I actually I think I blame Final Fantasy for that, but I've always loved it. It's like, we got guns! And when Emily Blunt, my girlfriend / future wife, rolls out of, like, the crashed vehicle with the sword, I think, like, she's pulling it.
Yeah.
She's, like, got it, because I don't think she has it up here.
No, she doesn't. You're right. She's pulling it behind her.
From the back, you see, like, people run out.
Like
I think they run out
head.
first. I think other guys run out first. And then she comes just from behind, you see the sword, and it's like, it's a Full Metal bitch.
Yeah.
And that was a great fucking scene. Like, if I had to do, like, top scenes of the year, that wouldn't be number one, obviously.
No, but it'd be
like, I love it. And her chemistry with Cruise was
and that was something that I was going to mention. Something that really came across with me was the chemistry that she had with Tom Cruise. Like, I mean, Tom Cruise is quite possibly at the same time underrated and overrated. And it's just a fantastic premise. Like the whole live, die, repeat. The video game idea where you have basically infinite lives, and you get to an area where you die, but you can go back, you can learn the area and it's the Dark Souls premise. Like it's basically Get Good the movie. Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow, my number 13. 85 and 80.
It's a badass overlooked science fiction film.
Yeah.
Do this.
Shoot.
I'm hitting my 90s and I'm...
Oh, wow. All right.
Sin City, A Dame to Kill For.
Okay.
Probably another pick that won't get on anyone else's. I would imagine.
A lot of people were really underwhelmed by it, I think. Partially because it was however long it was between the two movies.
It was a big
and it was just like, I waited this amount of time for this. I was hearing a lot of that from people who were big fans of the first one.
I don't even see the problem. He was like, you waited so long for a movie that did what the first one did. And what I like about Sin City is that it's like one of the only comic book movies that legit feels like a comic book. And it might have been lesser than the first, I guess. And I have thought about knocking it down to an 85. It's a great movie. It's just, I don't know what people expect after all these years. I don't know if they expect them to drastically change.
Yeah, really.
Change it? Like, if they're releasing it every year, then yeah, sure. It was like 10 years or something.
Yeah, it was a long time.
It was a long time ago.
And the fact that, like, the visual style was still fresh for me because, like, I'm not married to the first one. Like, it's not like I'm, like, this huge Sin City fan. I appreciate the first movie as what it is. My number 12, Inside the Dirty Dozen. My number 12, best movie of 2014. Dirty Dozen is rather apropos. It's Nightcrawler. I was a huge fan of Nightcrawler. And the character that Jake Gyllenhaal portrays here, because just this scumbag victim and sort of slave of his circumstance who just fucking embraces it. It's just like, if I need to be a sleazeball, I'm going to be the best sleazeball. But, like, Gyllenhaal just brings this character to life, and it's the movie's so sleek, and it's like, it feels like an 80s movie. And again, I'm big this year, especially on how movies feel. And, like, this feels like a really solid, really great 80s movie to me. With a rating of 80 out of 100, Nightcrawler is my number 12 best movie of 2014.
There were certain things that took me out of it a little bit. But the scene they're kind of showing what I think goes on in the back of, like, the newsroom. And I think I saw that movie with you, didn't I?
I think so.
And I remarked on this that I would have made a great short film. But yeah, there was moments where the tone shifted, or it, like, went from being like a sleazy, like, kind of late night type of movie, to, like, when he's arguing, I think, with the girl closer to the end, and I just thought, like, where they're really stretching, what was it, like, they're really pushing, like, I don't know, how fucked up they are or something, I don't know, it just seemed dumb. It was a really good movie, and obviously I gave Gilroy I think third spot on my best directors.
I believe so, yeah.
Gyllenhaal was not in the 3. Maybe he was. But he was on my honorable mentions. So, like, there was a lot to love.
Yeah,
about
absolutely.
Nightcrawler.
That was my last 80 on the list, by the way, so everything from here on out is 85 and above. So number 11, this is going to be the last one that's going to be featured in this video. The next video is going to begin with the top 10s. What is your number 11 best movie of 2014, sir?
Muppets Most Wanted.
Oh! I figured Muppets was going to be on there somewhere.
I like the Muppets.
Yeah, I like the Muppets too.
I'm not married to like the old Muppets to the point where it's like they can't possibly be as funny as they were, because like good Muppets does what they did back in the day, but you update it. Like the old Muppets, I'm not gonna say doesn't work, but like there's a lot that's lost on people.
Oh God, yeah.
These days, and it's hard not to kind of sit there like, doing a good Muppet.
Look at them, there they are. It's like
they're a national treasure, legit.
It's true, yeah, absolutely.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They're the only people on the planet that can bring world peace.
It's true.
The Muppets can do it.
Send the Muppets to North Korea. The Muppets are so good at, and I said this in my review to this movie, the Muppets are so good at infusing comedy into like everything.
Yeah.
They spoofed that Ingmar Bergman scene of playing chess with death. And nobody is going to appreciate that joke better than probably you. Second would be me. They put that joke in there for us.
It's fun for the family.
It is.
Because there's going to be something for everyone in that movie. All right, let's yell.
All right. Finishing this thing off with my number 11 best movie of 2014. I was about to say 2010. My number 11 best movie of 2014. And this is the one I think where we'll have probably the most amount of disagreement.
Good. Fuck it. Tired of agreeing.
The Judge. The Judge is arguably the most manipulative movie that I've seen all year. And I don't necessarily say that in a good way. But at the same time, I completely gave into being manipulated by this movie. It's Oscar bait. Like, it is. There's no getting around. And the worst part about that is, I don't think it's going to get anything. I don't think it's going to get nominated for anything, even though it was absolute Oscar bait. But the performances in this movie is what really drives it up there for me. Like, Robert Downey Jr. arguably plays a version of himself.
Which would be okay, only in all the previews, I needed a departure. This is a much-needed departure.
Yeah.
Not a departure.
It's
a departure from Iron Man, because you're not in a suit.
Yeah. At the same time, this is like Robert Downey Jr. distilled and purified, right? Like, it is probably the best RDJ outside of Iron Man 1 that I've seen in a long time. So at a rating of 85 out of 100, The Judge. That's how I'm going to finish it off. My number 11, best movie of 2014.
I don't hate Robert Downey Jr. at all. So when I say, it's just him, it's not, he's a charming dude.
Yeah.
I like him.
And he plays off of Robert Duvall really well.
Yeah, they do a good job. I think ultimately what it came down to for me was just that I was not willing to be manipulated by it. And I'm not even going to lie, there was some moments where I was like, oh, I felt a little sad or whatever, but then I felt dirty. I'm not supposed to feel dirty after a movie, but I still enjoyed it. I just didn't love it. I still gave it a 60 or 65.
Yeah, something like that.
I came out of it being it was alright.
Alright, folks. Thank you so much for sticking with us through this. This is a long-ass video. Come back for the next one where we drop dime on our top 10 best movies of 2014. It's the big one. It is the main event video through this.
Let me say one thing.
Yeah.
And if you guys thought we were long-winded before...
Yeah.
This video is after a long day of filming. Finish your thought.
That's pretty much it. We're just going to kick it to the last video. Top 10 time, baby.